Another black man dead. Another black man killed by the police in the United States of America. Hey guys, it's Double D from the Entitled Millennials podcast, and this is my Thinking Out Loud series. So guys, what's it been? Like 3 weeks since I had to sit here and make a video about Ahmaud Arbery being murdered by a couple of white supremacist racist assholes because he was going for a jog. What's it been? Like 3 weeks? 3 weeks and here we are. Another black man killed, this time by like the actual police. Murdered. I'm sure you guys have all seen the video or seen the picture. 3 officers holding him down. One of them with his knee on his neck. Another one just standing there. And this is the good cop, right? There's good cops and bad cops. Another one just sitting there, staring down, watching his fucking colleague murder this man. And for what? What was the crime that warranted this man being murdered? You guys read into it? Apparently he was at a convenience store, George Floyd. So they say apparently tried to use a fake $20 bill to pay for his groceries or whatever at the grocery store. You know, you get a fake bill, yeah, you call the police, whatever. Okay, got it. Police show up, fucking manhandle the guy, drag him out of the store. You can see the footage of it. He didn't resist arrest. They all but beat the shit out of him, pin him down behind the car. 3 guys holding him down. Like I said, this one officer that's fucking literally guilty of murder, just sitting there with his knee on his neck, all 200 something pounds of the man. His knee on his neck, suffocating him. And you've seen the picture, seen the footage, just staring at whoever was doing the video. Staring. Doesn't give a fuck. You know, I don't even want to know how many black men that is in this year alone. How many has it been in the whole history of the United States fucking murdered by police, put down by police, brutalized by police, locked up in prison their whole lives because of the war on drugs? You know? 13th Amendment ended slavery, but let's be real. It never ended. The 13th Amendment says slavery is prohibited, forced slavery is prohibited except as a punishment for a crime. And what did they do after the Civil War, during the Reconstruction period? One of the first things they did was implement mass vagrancy laws in the South. So the slaves got freed, you know, turn around a fucking week later, a year later, I don't know the exact time it was. They implement these vagrancy laws and they round up black people by the tens of thousands, if not the hundreds of thousands, and lock them up in prison and force them to rebuild the South. Sharecropping, Jim Crow laws. You know, we know the whole fucking thing. Oh, all that ended in the 60s. No. You know, we fast forward a few more years in this war on drugs, right? Mass incarceration. Now, we have prison labor reaping immense profits for giant corporations like Victoria's Secret. Prison labor. Building the things that we consume every day. Slavery hasn't gone anywhere. Still here, still alive and well, and you know, with the way our system is now and the way our politics are now, it's not going anywhere. So what do we have here? Another black man, you know, with some suspicion of a minor nonviolent crime being murdered by the police. I really can't even believe I'm sitting here again, man. It's not even been a month. And you know, there's the worst. And you know, the worst part of this is, I mean, fuck, it doesn't get worse than a fucking innocent man being murdered for no good reason. But in a sense, the worst part of this is the people who normalize this. The fact that it's normal at all. But the people who actively go out of their way to normalize it and say that's how it is. Shouldn't have resisted arrest. Shouldn't have ran. Shouldn't have done this or that. Shouldn't have broke the law. To those of you that think this way, let's just think for a minute. Let's say you got a son, 22 years old. All right, let's say this son of yours is, he's been fucking up. You know, he got out of high school and then, you know, got into drugs, got into crime, whatever. You know, and he's at this convenience store, and let's say he knowingly used a $20 bill that he knew was fake to try to buy groceries. You know, try to do a scam, try to forge a check, try to do this or that. And the cops get called on him. You're his parent, you're his mom, his dad. And then your son is murdered by 4 cops. One of them bearing down all of his weight on his neck, suffocating him, if not fucking breaking his neck. If it was your son, how would you feel? Is that justice? Is that okay? Is that just how it is? Should your son have not resisted? But no, because it's a black man, it's okay, right? Is that how it is? Because I tell you something, if it were my son or daughter that was killed by the fucking police, and I think it's the same with you, you'd be fucking furious. There would be no justification for that. Just sort of him pulling a gun out and trying to shoot the cop, right? But here we are, 2020, black man suffocated to death by 4 cops in the street, and here we are trying to normalize it. And we try to act like there isn't a racism problem in the police departments. Dude, I don't know if you guys have been reading into this, but the police union, the leader of the police union in the Minneapolis area, and also this police officer that murdered George Floyd, they're both at a fucking Trump rally. And you could say, oh, just because of that doesn't mean they're racist. Man, get real. Get real. We know what this is. It's open. It's brazen. We've seen cops that are clearly part of white supremacy groups. You know, I watched an interview with, I can't remember his name, but it was this black man who's a jazz singer. He was going around and, you know, having conversations with members of KKK and other racist groups. Just having conversations with them, talking to them, trying to get them off of the path of white supremacy and hate. And in this interview, you know, he brought with him in this interview all these different Ku Klux Klan uniforms. So he had this Ku Klux Klan uniform sitting here, right? And he's like, you know, and guess what his day job was? And he pulls back the fabric of the KKK uniform, an Imperial Wizard uniform or something like that. And underneath it is a Baltimore City Police Department uniform. I don't know if you guys know this either, but Obama signed a bill into law protecting police from allegations of murder and police brutality. Not only that, but he pushed through a piece of legislation that took known nationalistic, racist war criminals from the Iraq and Afghanistan wars and gave them a path into America's police departments. But, you know, racism's not a problem in the United States anymore. It's old news. Black people need to get over it. Slavery was 100-something years ago. Jim Crow was 60 years ago. Meanwhile, we got, you know, black grandmas and grandpas that remember, they lived it as young kids. They remember having to use separate bathrooms, separate watering fountains, had to sit at the back of the bus. People alive today that aren't much older than our parents remember segregation. And their parents before them, some of them remembered the early days after the Civil War. Nothing's changed. This isn't an old problem, the past. It's still very real and very present. And then we wonder, or we condemn, the people rioting in Minneapolis. Minneapolis is on fire right now. You know what? You know, there's people, I'm going to get hate for this. That's not the way to do it. You need to peacefully protest. What the fuck has peaceful protest ever done? Ever. Did we get labor laws from peaceful protest? Do you really think it was MLK's marches alone that got the Civil Rights Act through? No. It was the Black Panthers roaming around with guns and defending black businesses that did that. We got labor rights because people fought and died for them. Electoral politics and peaceful protests can be powerful tools, but they will never be enough to implement real change. And you can sit here and condemn these riots in Minneapolis. But how would you fucking feel if it was your group of people, if it was your community routinely being murdered by the police over petty crimes? How many weeks ago was it that we had hundreds of armed, masked militiamen, white militiamen, show up at the State House in Michigan and go toe-to-toe with police, and the police acted perfectly fine? No big deal. Meanwhile, they have assault weapons. If they wanted to, they could murder everybody in that place. One of the guys was found with pipe bombs. Oh, but it was all peaceful and fine then. Second Amendment rights, that's great. Just people showing up, doing their civic duty, protesting peacefully. It's a far cry from what's happening in Minneapolis right now. Rubber bullets being shot, people being maced, tear gas. And mind you, that's before even the riots and the looting broke out. This is how these things go. They escalate. The police come out with force, rubber bullets, tear gas, all that good fun shit. Oh, yeah. It's any wonder that they fucking destroyed police cars and burnt buildings to the ground. I say fuck it. Good for you guys. Because apparently the police and the system and the status quo, the only language they understand is violence. And this cop that killed George Floyd, this ain't his first rodeo. In 2008, he shot a man for a nonviolent crime. I think it was in 2010, 2012. He shot a Native American man. And then here we are. Suffocated George Floyd to death. And this is just one story in hundreds that we don't even hear about, in thousands over the years, of young black men being murdered for some petty ass fucking reason. A human life snuffed out because of a law being broken. And not even a law being broken. The suspicion of a law being broken. And you guys want to sit here and tell me we don't have a fucking problem. You want to sit here and tell me that the riots in Minneapolis aren't justified. I don't want anybody to get hurt, except maybe that fucking cop that murdered George Floyd. I don't want it to come to this, but what are our black brothers and sisters supposed to do? Keep taking it on the chin like they haven't been taking it on the chin for the last 400 years? Would you fucking take it on the chin? I don't think so. I know I wouldn't. We need real change. You know, I was reading a huge percentage of the cops, specifically in Minneapolis, they're not even from the Minneapolis area. They drive into Minneapolis. They have no connection and no sense of respect or responsibility for the citizens of Minneapolis, especially not people of color. How is that an option? How are you allowed to not live in an area and then be a police officer in that city? How are you allowed to walk the beat with these people that you don't know? What I'm trying to say is, we need community policing. The people that are policing these neighborhoods need to be from that fucking neighborhood. And don't tell me it can't happen. That's how police work worked in the past. It can happen. There's talented and gifted people in these communities that care about their fellow citizens, that care about their neighborhoods, that know the people that are down and out, that know the people that are going down the wrong path. They can be members of that community. They can advocate better than any other person coming from the outside could ever. If we have community policing, these officers won't be looking at the people in these neighborhoods, people of color or people not of color. It doesn't matter in the end. They won't be looking at them as some foreign agent, someone that's meant to get out to get them, somebody that they have to be afraid of. They'll look at them as their friends and neighbors and colleagues. And community policing alone isn't going to be enough either. How many times have we seen a police officer or police officers murder a young black man and they get off with paid leave for like a year or two, sometimes not even that, maybe 6 months. Not only do they not get just suspended, they get paid to not be on the job. The reason why that happens is because the police unions have so much power over electoral politics in this country. And look, I'm all for unions. I'm for teacher unions. I'm for manufacturing unions. I'm for retail workers and service sector unions. Unions are great. But the police union is a different animal. It's actively run by racists and neo-fascists. Its purpose isn't necessarily just to protect the labor rights of police officers. And yes, police officers should have labor rights. There should be a limit on hours. There should be a limit on. There should be rules set in place for walking a safe beat. All these things, healthcare, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they do more than that. The police union actively works to protect the ass of police officers that commit crime, that are dirty, that are corrupt, and that murder innocent citizens. And these police unions have so much power to the point where they can almost decide how the electoral politics go within a major city. Because I think it's going to be, I don't know about you, but I think it's going to be pretty hard to become mayor or city councilman if you don't have the backing of the police union. So that's got to be changed. How do we do that? I don't know. How do we stem the power of the police unions? I don't know. That's a discussion that needs to be had, but it's something that needs to be done. Another thing we need is civilian tribunals for police officers that murder innocent citizens. Anytime a police officer kills somebody in the line of duty or injures somebody in the line of duty, there needs to be a civilian tribunal. Not any of this shit with the whim of the union, with the police union, none of this military tribunal shit. Because this is what ends up happening is they get these police officers off the hook with a slap on the wrist. We need real system of courts for specifically this thing where we have citizen tribunals, citizen juries, and civilian judges to determine the fate of these officers who acted out of accordance with the line of duty. And a big issue too is the war on drugs. The war on drugs has, in the eyes of police officers, it has created a cultural institution which has changed the way in which police officers look at the average citizen. The average citizen is no longer somebody to serve and protect. In the eyes of police officers now, due to the war on drugs, the average citizen is potentially an enemy. Because let's be real here. The police were never designed to serve and protect the citizenry. They were designed to keep order, prevent crime from getting too much, right? But they really exist to maintain the status quo. The police departments exist to protect private property, and that's it. There's been court rulings in some of these hearings that I'm talking about, these essentially military tribunals, police tribunals, where judges have ruled that the police have no real responsibility to protect the average citizen. That is not their job. Their job is to enforce the law, be that law just or not. So it's beyond even legislative change at this point. This war on drugs and this culture of profiling has completely changed the way police officers look at the average citizen, but especially the average black citizen. I don't know, guys. I'm just fucking sorry I'm sitting here again. And I'm even sorrier knowing that, and I hate to say this, it's probably not going to be the last time this year. To those people that are out protesting, doing the Black Lives Matter protest, to those people that are out rioting and filled with rage and anger, solidarity. Solidarity. I'm not going to condemn this action, violent or not. The city of Minneapolis and many other cities that have perpetuated systemic racism in the police departments deserve to burn to the ground. If that's what it's going to take. Maybe if enough businesses are burned and enough police officers or National Guardsmen or city councilmen are afraid of what the future holds for their city, maybe we'll see some actual change. But even with that, I'm not going to hold my breath. This is going to take a long and coordinated effort over many years with Black Lives Matter, with the Black Panthers, but not just with them, but with other working class solidarity movements. This is something I talked about on my Ahmaud Arbery video. The rage and indignation, the righteous indignation that we're seeing in Minneapolis with these riots, is something that we need to see spill beyond just this race issue. Because this race issue, in many ways, is just a symptom of the underlying decay and cultural sickness that is afflicting our country. We need to see this energy, this riot energy, this protest energy, spread out into a multiracial coalition that bands together in a general strike, in a riot, in a protest, shuts the system down so that we can see real change at all levels. Working class solidarity between all races, all creeds, to implement the issues that will cure the problems of poverty. I'm all for this Black Lives Matter protest. We need it. Like I said, solidarity. Burn that fucking place to the ground for all I care, if it means you get your voices heard. But we need to do more. Imagine what would happen if we could do that on a massive scale in every major city in the United States, but not just that, coordinate with the unions to shut down the rail systems, to shut down the air transit system, to shut down the highways. Imagine what we can do, what we can accomplish when the ruling class is so afraid of their losses that they have no choice but to capitulate to the demands of working class people. Anyway, I'm rambling, guys, but again, as always, that's the point of this Thinking Out Loud video. Again, I'm just sorry I'm fucking sitting here again, having a conversation about another black man, George Floyd, being murdered by the police, being murdered by fucking closeted white supremacists. I'll leave you out with this. To those of you fighting the good fight in Minneapolis, solidarity, carry on. If there's anything any of us can do, be it money, clothes, increasing your broadcast, I'd like to get somebody who's out there on the front lines talking on our show, hopefully within the next week or two. But I just say keep on keeping on. Keep fighting. We've got your back. You have the hearts and the minds of the people. Black, white, Asian, Native American, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist. Everyone's sick of this shit. Because it's not just a black man being murdered in the streets. It's an American citizen. And we're fucking sick and tired of it, just like you are. Alright, guys. Let you go. Take it easy. Good luck out there. Bye.
I don't feel anything. No, I don't feel I don't, and I know that I don't know, and I know that I don't know anything at all. I don't know, and I know that I don't. Yes, I know.